Downtown Pops concert series presented free of charge by the Gower Community Band. Each concert in the series offers prize draws, features guest artists, and gives the GCB an opportunity to partner with a local charity to continue their long-standing outreach mandate. In recognition of the very high demand being placed on food banks in our province in recent times, today we are pleased to work with Bridges to Hope to further their important work. More on that later.
Can we turn that mic up more in here? Can we turn Mark's mic up a bit more in the room?
Keep going. Am I supposed to turn it on?
No, just keep it on.
Okay. Sure. How about that? Today's concert, titled The GCB Swings, is a direct reflection of the music chosen for you today as we explore the world of jazz. We have renowned local jazz artists, Johnston, Lear, and Gendron, with us today, and the band will offer a variety of jazz offerings of its own. With that being said, let's get to the music. The word jazz was first used in a musical context in 1915. Though it's hard to define jazz, its roots lie in ragtime and blues music of the late 1800s and early 1900s. To acknowledge the roots of jazz, the band will start the afternoon with a well-known selection in the style known as ragtime. Scott Joplin wrote many ragtime pieces for piano, and the best known to today's audience is undoubtedly The Entertainer, written in 1902. Joplin's Maple Leaf Rag was a bigger success in its day, but the inclusion of The Entertainer in the 1973 movie The Sting brought it so much attention that it eventually reached number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 charts in May of 1974. So, here's the GCB to play it for you now. Well, that's a great start to the concert. And now at this time, I'd like to invite Reverend Pamela Jones Fitzgerald to offer words of welcome on behalf of Gower Street United Church.
Good afternoon, everyone. Want to take this opportunity to welcome you to Gower Street United Church. One of the things that we're most proudest of among many is our connection with the Gower Community Band over the years. And so it's an honor for them to have them here in this capacity with us again, and they're with us in other capacities all throughout the year. Want to also welcome you to our beautiful sanctuary, and want to say to you that if you are looking for a place to get away from the hustle and bustle and relax, meditate, or just sit in silence, you are always welcome here, no matter where you come from or what you believe or don't believe. We want you to know that our doors are always open for you. So have a great afternoon, and we hope to see you again sometime in the near future.
Thank you, Reverend Pam. Now, throughout the concert, we're going to be making 3 draws. You saw the tickets being sold out in the foyer, and these are prizes that were generously donated by various sponsors. So today, the first prize is a gift basket from Belden's, and if your ticket is drawn, hang on to it, and at the end out in the foyer you'll meet Janet Howells, and she'll work out the arrangements with you. So our first winner. So it's ticket number 761067. 761067. Congratulations to you, and you can pick up your prize at the end of the concert. So, as jazz began to grow and spread in the 1910s, it flourished in several cities, including New Orleans. A group called the Original Dixieland Jazz Band became the template for groups that followed, so much so that the word Dixieland went from being just part of the band name to being the name of the genre. A typical lineup included a trumpet playing the melody with a clarinet and trombone weaving their own variations around that melody. Accompaniment was provided by a rhythm section consisting of a tuba and drums. This instrumentation and style has been seen in many movies and television shows as an instantaneous way of identifying the settings as New Orleans. That lineup is on display in the band's next selection, At a Dixieland Jazz Funeral, which includes 2 well-known melodies, Just a Closer Walk with Thee and When the Saints Go Marching In. Here's the GCB playing At a Dixieland Jazz Funeral. The soloists for that performance were Janet Howells on trumpet, Aaron Daw on clarinet, Steve Howells on trombone, Andrew Orsborn on tuba, and Zach Green on drums. Let's give them another round of applause. The Downtown Pop concert series was conceived of and implemented by Gower Community Band Director Emeritus and my father, Edsel Bonnell, in 2018. The twice-a-year series was continued by current director Ron Collins in 2019, before it, like everything else, was interrupted in 2020. Aren't we all delighted to see it return back again this afternoon? One of the cornerstones of this concert series is outreach. The word downtown is in the title of the concert series, specifically to engender a connection to those who live in the downtown area and to the organizations who work with those among us in need of support. Previous partners have included Stella's Circle, The Gathering Place, and LifeWise, formerly known as Channel. Today we are happy to partner with Bridges to Hope. To tell us more, I'd like to invite Executive Director Jody Williams to the microphone.
Good day. My name is Jody Williams. I'm the Executive Director of Bridges to Hope, and I've been there for about 7 years now. So Bridges to Hope, we've been around for 32 years now, providing food aid here in St. John's and reducing the effects of poverty. A long, long time ago, rising out of increasing demand, the various United churches in the cities of St. John's, Mount Pearl, and the support of the Presbyterian churches decided that the individual informal food aid services could be more effectively dispensed and administered if they were consolidated. And thus, Bridges to Hope, formerly known as the United Church Food Aid Center, began on October 1st, 1989. This was a growing trend happening across Canada. Food banks were created during an economic recession and were designed to be a temporary solution. The first food bank in Canada opened in 1981 in Edmonton during a recession caused by an oil industry bust. 40 years later, and unfortunately, people have come to rely on us more than ever. Food insecurity is not an issue that is going away anytime soon. This has caused me to reflect on why we are still here and how we even make it this far. As 3 decades of supplying food for up to 10,000 people a year is no small feat. Bridges to Hope is a non-profit organization, which means it has been an ever-changing organism made up of hundreds of board members, employees, and many, many volunteers, one of which actually is one of the original volunteers is still with us 32 years later, which is quite miraculous. So I wondered, how has it succeeded in fulfilling its mission to relieve hunger through several different locations, times of austerity, and despite having no single source of revenue? Through the miracle and power of kindness and compassion, I have repeatedly seen the selflessness of people willing to help strangers. From little kids donating their birthday money, to offices holding food drives, businesses offering financial support, and even clients themselves contributing when they found themselves in a position to do so. And our community needs support now more than ever, as we remain steadfast in our mission to relieve hunger and restore dignity for our friends and neighbors, especially this time of year. So I'd like to thank you all for coming out and offering your support. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jody. And now you can see the importance in our community of this wonderful group, Bridges to Hope. So he's going to draw our second ticket today. Thank you, sir. ticket number, oh, I'm sorry, this is for, again, another generous donation from the Flower Studio. So this is a gift from the Flower Studio. Ticket number 761034. 761034. So again, after the concert, you can see Janet Howells. Is there one, does someone have that ticket? I didn't ask about the first one either. 761034? There is? Good. How about 761067? Good. Perfect. Phew. Again, thanks again for those great words, Jody. We arrive now at what could be seen as the peak of our jazz timeline, the big band era of the 1940s. The GCB's next selection features 5 great songs from that era collected into a medley called Big Band Bash. You'll hear Stan Kenton's Artistry and Rhythm, Glenn Miller's Tuxedo Junction and Moonlight Serenade, Duke Ellington's Take the A Train. The piece concludes with 1 O'Clock Jump by the Count Basie Orchestra. Here is the Gower Community Band with Big Band Bash. Thank you, band. Now it's time to welcome our special guest performance today. I'm looking for a bass player with whom I can develop a relationship. So began the first telephone conversation between pianist Gary Johnston and bassist Denise Lear back in 1993. Understanding the importance of this musical relationship was not lost on either musician, with such historic examples as pianist Oscar Peterson and bassist Ray Brown, Keith Jarrett and Gary Peacock, Carla Bley and Steve Swallow, but neither Gary nor Denise could foresee what was to follow. They began performing as a duo and soon formed various groups with singers and instrumentalists, provided music for the theater, concert hall, and club venues, and performed on TV and radio both locally and nationally. Eventually, their relationship blossomed not only musically but also romantically, and on July 20th, 1996, they were married. Not long after they recorded their CD, In a Heartbeat. In 2015, they began playing with drummer Etienne Gendron, performing engaging arrangements of jazz standards and their own original compositions, and have been an active part of the local jazz scene, performing at festivals, music venues, and special events throughout St. John's. So I'll hand over the group's introductions to Gary Johnston, pianist of Johnston, Lear, and Gendron.
There we go. The whole up-down thing I just didn't get. Okay, so my name is Gary Johnston, and drummers today we have Etienne Gendron and Denise Derby playing bass. We just need a second or two just to get our, to ensure our tuning is good and whatnot, and then we'll begin. Excuse me a moment. It is. It's so great because, I mean, I've known Ron since forever, since the early 80s. Mark, the same way. We're at music school together. I see people in the band whose kids I've taught. I've taught some of them, you know, in music lessons and whatnot. And a Gower band concert is just like a great big group hug. I love it. you very much. Thank you. Great solo there, Denise. Where were you keeping that one? You've been holding out. All right, that's called Softly as in the Morning Sunrise. Woo! One of our faves. So the next tune is a tune from our album In a Heartbeat. And it was one of a number of tunes that I wrote in like really short period of time, a couple of days, that became the album actually. It's titled Perfect Circles, and it comes from the fact that I was with Jazz Unlimited, and we were in New Brunswick, and there was a whole group of people from across the country, and the representatives there at this festival from the Yukon. Amongst them were a circus troupe, and one of the clowns actually, they had all defected. This was when it was not Russia, it was the Soviet Union, and it wasn't easy traveling. And you know, he was the kind of person who he'd enter a room, he'd look in the corner for the surveillance cameras. You know, it's just the way they lived where he came from. But he was an amazing juggler, and he would walk around the perimeter of the gymnasium or the soccer field or whatever, juggling, like all day long. So you'd meet him at dinner, and he'd say, "So what you been doing?" He'd just say, walking in circles, perfect circles. And so I thought, I don't know, I filed that away, and that came up then as a tune name much later. So here's Perfect Circles. thank you very much. Thank you. So our closing number. Well, Ron specifically said, I'm getting a ring on this. Ron specifically said this wasn't to be a Christmas concert. I specifically had my shirt. And then I, but there's no denying it's around the corner, right, folks? So, yeah. But this is one of Vince Guaraldi's pieces from the Charlie Brown Christmas show. But, you know, like Lee Mendelsohn, the producer of the show, was just driving, he was stuck in traffic on the Golden Gate Bridge and just did not know what he was going to do about the music for this. He wanted Dave Brubeck. Dave Brubeck was on tour, and it was for the next, 10 years. And but he'd heard on the radio this wonderful piece called Cast Your Fate to the Wind. And in typical, California fashion, they said, get me that guy, And so they found that it was Vince Guaraldi, tracked him down, and he went on to score over 80 Peanuts cartoons. I didn't know there were over 80 Peanuts cartoons. So this is Vince Guaraldi's Christmas is Coming. It's not Christmas. Christmas is coming. Again, thanks to Mark, Ron, all the band, this wonderful building, Reverend Pamela, and thank you to Etienne, Denise, I'm Gary, and we'll see you after this one. Bye.
Wow, Gary, Denise, and Etienne, thank you so much. Johnston, Lear, and Gendron, everyone, just wonderful. Sure. Okay. If there is one song that stands out as the classic example of big band jazz, it would have to be Glenn Miller's In the Mood. Originally recorded in 1939, it became synonymous with the big band era in the United States, and in 1983, that recording was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame. In 1999, National Public Radio, NPR, included it in its list of 100 most important American musical works of the 20th century. In 2004, it was inducted into the Library of Congress's National Recording Registry, which consists of recordings that are culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant. No pressure on the band. But here they are with a faithful concert band version of In the Mood, arranged by Andy Clark. The soloists for In the Mood were Colin Martin on trumpet, Shelley Barrett on alto sax, and Ron Collins on tenor sax. Let's give them a round of applause. So, here we are nearing the concert's conclusion. And I have been informed by Maestro Ron, and I was thinking about that last night. That's a name, honor, and respect, but we should put it in another, even a higher regard. And I thought, maestro ends R-O, so all we gotta do is add the N, maestron. And then it's almost got that Transformers power kind of feel to it, So I've been informed by Maestron that I'm to provide an anecdote for a few minutes. It's a thing that's been associated with this downtown series. So first, I'll spare you with any discussions about me and my grandson Theo. However, if anyone wants to see pictures, I'll be in the foyer outside where the prizes are being awarded. Now, I'd like to talk to you guys about the purpose of this talk right now, is to provide a break. A little break for the audience so that your ears get a little reset, but it's primarily for the band. So if I may, I'm going to take you into the world of the performer. We've been sitting here enjoying all this incredible musicianship, but few realize how taxing this stuff is. Mentally, your focus levels cannot take a break. You have to listen to your bandmates, hit your cues, follow the director, and that lasts for the entire evening. However, physically, it can be quite taxing, except for the percussionists. They just love hitting things, and they're kind of miffed at me right now as I'm delaying their ability to hit things over and over and over again. They're a happy bunch. But the wind players, the rest of the band practically, that's a different story. We, and I say we as a former clarinetist of the GYB, have to use our mouth muscles in a way that isn't normal to ensure the sounds correctly come out of our instruments at the right time. If you've been watching throughout the evening, well, and some of them are very good, they might hide behind their stands, but you will see wind players doing movements like this. First, there's the loose buzz, or if that's not working, then you might even see a few of them do sort of a bit of that. Or as what I call the Jim Carrey mouth relax. And what it is to relax the muscles, get the blood going again, so that everything feels fresh and they can continue on. Some of them are probably at it right now. And if I start introducing the final song right now, I'm probably getting some dirty looks from some of them because they're hoping for a little bit more of break time. Now I'll tell you two short stories, break stories really. The first one is more of a reminiscing. During my 10 years in the Gower Youth Band, there were many Wednesday evenings or Saturday morning practices. If the director, Edsel Bonnell, was pushing us hard with some demanding pieces, you would frequently hear an exasperated break scream from somewhere in the band during the midway point of the practice. Some people needed the break to rest their chops. Others were just craving a bag of hickory sticks and a Mountain Dew at the store across the corner here from the band room. Now, the second story shows you how dire it can be if you're deprived of your breaks. In the early 80s, I was in the Mon Concert Band, and it was embarking on a tour across the island. We started in Stephenville and ended in Clarenville with performances in Grand Falls and Gander. I believe that was the tour. The band at that time had very few clarinetists, and I was always doubling or tripling parts. And that means you had to cover the part of an instrument that wasn't there or they needed more of the voicings. So that meant I had no break whatsoever. Sometimes in a piece you get 5, 10 bars out. I didn't have that because I was covering for, not just me, another one as well, had to cover the parts for the band. By the time we got to Gander, I could barely get through the first half of the performance as I had developed a fatigue pimple on my lower lip, which wind instruments people, they know this. Not sure whose bright idea it was, but it was suggested to sterilize a safety needle and lance the pimple. So we ran it under hot water in the sink behind the theater, and then someone came out with a lighter and we lit that, and we thought we had that thing sterilized pretty good. And they lanced the pimple, and I was free of the pain and continued with that with the rest of the concert, so that was great. However, when I woke up the next morning to get on the bus to go to Clarenville for the final performance, my lower lip was down past my chin. I'll never forget Dr. Hestigan's look on her face when she saw me at breakfast. Her whole face sunk. So I had to sit on the sidelines for the final concert. And not only that, I couldn't play the clarinet for about 2 weeks until my lip returned to its normal size. So, breaks are very important. If you look at the structure of the entire program, the director has planned it out so that breaks are interspersed throughout with different speeches and also another incredible group that played for us. However, this break, which includes me blabbering on and demanding, after a demanding evening, is very important. I mean, the ending of In the Mood, I think the first trumpets were hitting a high D, was it? Man, the pressure their mouths were under. When they finished, their lips must have been sucked back up into the tube right close to the first valve. So while we've been surrounded by amazing music this afternoon, I'm hoping I've enlightened some of you a little bit more about the importance of the breaks and the demands that have been put on these incredible musicians. How about a small round of applause to show how much we appreciate their mental and physical demands. How's that, guys? All fresh for your final piece or what? Okay, now before we get started, we're going to draw for our last prize, and I've invited the first trumpeter, Janet Howells, to come up. This prize is a Tim's gift card that's been generously donated by Bruce and Betty Woodland. And I brought her up, in case you didn't know, this is the lady that you meet in the foyer, Janet Howells. So those prize winners, here's who you got to check out. Here you go. So this last one, 761060. 761060. Have we got a winner? Perfect. 3 winners, great. That's perfect. Who? Oh, it's Aaron's mother. Perfect. Okay, so before we hear the final piece of music for the afternoon, we'd like to remind those who have won prizes. You see that lady, Janet Howells, out in front. As well, anyone wishing to make a donation to Bridges to Hope, and you've heard what a wonderful group that is, and you didn't have a chance to do so before the concert, Jody Williams will be in the lobby behind you in the concert, and they accept Visa and debit. And as you can imagine, a concert like this takes a lot of preparation and planning. The GCB would like to thank Reverends Pam and Rebecca and everyone at Gower Street United Church for their continued support. Thank you to Angela Lawrence for donating her time and services for the poster design. Ken Butt for sound and camera work, Bruce Woodland for prize donation, and our special musical guests, Johnston, Lear, and Gendron. Our director, oops, sorry. Yes, give him a hand. That's all important. Our director, Ron Collins, would like to recognize and thank the members of the band's executive committee who have done the bulk of the work in planning today's concert. So that's Dave Robbins, Janet Howells, Aaron Daw, Suzanne Orsborn, Andrew Orsborn, and Chris Williams. Give them a hand. And the Downtown Pops concert series is sponsored by 2 longtime friends of Dad, Ev and Marlo Carey, and we are very grateful for their support.
I want you to also join me in thanking Mark Bonnell for his work today.
Okay, the band's final selection is called New York 1927. Composer Warren Barker has written an original piece that captures the energy of both New York and the music of the Roaring Twenties. There are 3 sections to this piece called Ragtime, Blues, and Manhattan Mayhem. It has quickly become a favorite of Ron's and the band's, and we hope you enjoy New York 1927. Thank you, everyone. Again, thanks to the GCB for an amazing concert. Thank you to Johnston, Lear, and Gendron. And also, thank you for your support for Bridges to Hope. And if I can ask just one more thing, please remember, even though we're at the back end of it, unfortunately, it's still a pandemic, and so please think of the immunocompromised and the elderly. Keep wearing those masks, keep washing those hands, keep doing the social distancing. Stay safe, everyone, and thank you.